Greetings, happy coders, and welcome to another video, and in particular, welcome to the Usborne Introduction to Machine Code for Beginners. This book, which was first published around 1982, gives a guide to programming the Z80 and the 6502. It was recently made available as a free download PDF by Usborne Publishing, who are, I'm happy to say, still going. And I reached out to them and asked them if they would give me their blessing to run a series on this book so that you could download and perhaps learn some machine code tricks on the ZX Spectrum in this case. So I'm going to do a little video here just talking about that, and I'm going to see how I go in terms of the likes and subscribes that I get on this video, and if I get enough that I feel it's justifiable, then I will make another video and we'll have a series based on this book. I've been thinking about doing something with Z80 coding tutorials for a while. Some people have been asking me to do it. There are some good ones already online. So I didn't want to do it unless I had a different angle, let's say. So having the opportunity that Usborne have given me here to use this book, I think it's a good enough reason because we can have a bit of fun with this. It does have that little sort of hint of nostalgia that I know many of you enjoy, and it's a really good book for beginners. So let's take a quick look at the index here and a little bit about the book. So as you can see, it's written by Lisa Watts and Mike Wharton, illustration by Naomi Reed, Graham Round, and Lynn Norman. And there are also some consultants for the 6502, but we ain't going to be talking about no 6502 in these videos. So anyway, let's take a look. So as you can see, there's a whole index here, lots of different things going on. Not going to think about those too much right now. And as it says here, this book is a step-by-step guide to programming in machine code. This is the code which the computer does all its work in to run quickly. So you can combine it with BASIC or another high-level language. For example, you could be using AGDX or something like that. And as it says, it takes you through the stages of understanding how the chips work, how to write the code, and how to implement it. And that's more or less what I hope we will be doing should the video get enough traction, let's say. So as it says, it's written for Z80 or 6502, but we're going to be focusing on our beloved Z80. And the first chapter, which we will take a quick look at in this video, is called What is Machine Code? So as it says, essentially machine code is the code that the computer uses to do everything. So if you've put a program in BASIC, before the computer can actually run that code, it has to interpret the BASIC, translate it if you like, into machine code, and then it will send that information to the chip and it will do what you've asked it to do. So, as I said, I'm going to presume that people watching this have at least some basic programming knowledge, let's say basic as in using BASIC, something like that. I'm not an absolute expert in Z80 by any means. I've only been coding in it for a couple of years, so there may be people watching who find errors or can correct me, and I'll be happy for anyone to chip in there. Please feel free. This is something that I'm also going to learn from. So as you can see, that's essentially what machine code is, and as it explains here, in machine code, each instruction for the computer and each piece of information, for example, the numbers, are all represented by a binary number. So binary is the number system which only uses 2 digits. And we will look at the binary system perhaps in the next video, assuming that enough people have enjoyed this one. So you can write any number in binary using only ones and zeros. It's a little bit like, say, for example, Morse code. So if you imagine Morse code, it's all dot and dash, same principle. So in binary, it's all 1 and 0. Rather than dot and dash, it's 1 and 0. And as you can see here, the reason for that is that inside the computer, the binary is transferred to the chip using pulses of electricity. So there is a pulse and a no pulse. So there is a timer, and the computer can basically read it through in terms of on or off. And that will allow it to understand a series of instructions. So these pulses are called bits, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And a bit is either a 0 or a 1. Now, the computer interprets these bits in groups of 8 at a time, and that's why these computers are called 8-bit. So it looks at 8 at a time and interprets it, and then that allows it to take instruction or numbers or letters or whatever else it might be, all represented with these combinations of 8 bits. Okay, so let's move on and look at the last section here. Each task the computer can carry out, such as adding or clearing a screen or anything like that, involves using machine code. So as I said before, when you send a command in BASIC, it will be interpreted into a long string of numbers, and those numbers represent instructions, and the computer will then follow those instructions, and the combinations of those, whether you're sending those bytes to the screen or to another part of memory or to read information about a font or a piece of graphics or making a noise from the speaker or anything like that, all of it is done in that exact same way, one way or another. So in terms of understanding the code, it's relatively straightforward in the sense that it's always the same. The thing that you do need to know, depending on the computer you're using, is where everything is in the memory. And if you take a look at this cute little illustration here, you can see that we have an interpreter taking basic instructions, converting them into these bytes of instructions, and then passing that on to the chip. So essentially, if you're going to write in machine code, you're going to cut out this middleman here, that is the middleman between you and the computer, and you're going to start talking directly to the computer, and that means it's going to run a lot faster. So if you have anything that needs to run as fast as possible, which is basically games, then ideally you're going to want to be programming in machine code or in something that can interpret machine code in such a way that it would be very fast, which is not BASIC. So moving on, let's take now a quick look, and you can read all of this. As I said, we'll give you the download. You can read this through yourself, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments below as well. But as I said, don't forget, like and subscribe if you do want me to continue. So, programming in machine code. There are several different ways to do this. Now, this book was written in 1982, and there was no internet as we would know it today. And the idea of being able to run an emulator, of course, was just a twinkle in someone's eye, perhaps. So, in those days, it was a lot tougher. It's a lot easier now, and we can use modern text editors to create our code, and we can compile it, and then we can load it into an emulator with very little risk of losing our data, as long as we back it up in the text editor, which is usually automatic. So it's a lot easier than it was in these days, but as it says here, you could write all the instructions in binary, which would be very tedious. Indeed it would, and it would be not just tedious, it would be insane, quite frankly. Instead, you can use another system called hexadecimal, right? So that's another thing that we'll look at. Hexadecimal is a system that uses, rather than 10 digits, it uses 16 digits. And that's why it's called hex, which is 6, decimal, which is 10. So 10 plus 6, 16. And as it says, once you get used to it, hex is much easier to work with than binary. And as you begin to learn machine code, you'll start to get into the habit of coding using hexadecimal rather than decimal, simply because hexadecimal plays a lot more nicely with binary than decimal does, and that's something that we'll probably look at as well. And as it says here, machine code programs can also be written in assembly language. So assembly language is a series of instructions. So for example, as you can see, you've got some numbers here and they represent commands. For example, you've got there LDA, that is a mnemonic, and here is a number. And again, as I said, don't worry too much about this right now. The only thing that we want to understand at this point is that this is represented by 1 byte, and this is also represented by a byte here. And so is this, and so is this. So you've got data represented by numbers, and instructions also represented by numbers. Everything is represented by numbers. But when you write it in assembly language, you're writing single instructions to the computer. So assembly language, generally the code, once it's written in assembly language, it's a lot longer than BASIC in terms of the number of instructions, because just to do even the most simple task will usually involve 15 or 20 instructions, simply because you're working at that very kind of bleeding edge level, let's say. Okay, so as it shows you here, a couple of examples. Machine code program in hexadecimal. The hex number system has 16 digits, which, as I said, and we use 0 to 9 and A to F for that. And again, in another video, we'll look at that a little bit more, because I think that understanding binary and understanding hex is absolutely fundamental to learning machine code. And if you want to learn to program in assembly and machine code, right from the beginning, you should start working in binary and hexadecimal, because you will have to sooner or later. And it may seem at first that it's easier for you to use decimal because you're familiar with it, but that is something you're going to have to break away from sooner or later. So the sooner you do it, the better, really, in my opinion, anyway. So as you can see there, this is 3E02, and here load A02. So this is the hex number 3E, and that's the number 2, and that's how it translates to assembly language here. C6 is the code for add to A, and 4 is the number that we're going to add to. And again, we are going to go through all of this in the future. And it says here, as it says, load A, LD stands for load, add means add. So load means put a value into this register here. And again, that's something we'll look at later on. The main thing you should take away from this is that everything is done in binary by the computer in groups of 8 bits, which means that we have 8-bit numbers, and these 8-bit numbers can be represented. They can be represented in decimal, but more easily represented in hexadecimal, like so. And some of them can represent an instruction. And if the computer has already received an instruction, then the next piece of data potentially can represent data. Let's say the next number that it encounters can represent data. So it really depends on the code and the position of the code as to what the machine will interpret it as. Okay, so let's finish up with this conclusion here then. So to give a computer a program in assembly, you need a special program called an assembler, which translates the mnemonics into computer code. So essentially what we're doing, if you like, is we're taking the interpreter part and we're separating it from the machine code part. So rather than have the machine do the interpretation using BASIC, let's say, we are going to directly code it using a script which will be compiled, and then it will be put into the computer. So we're not really technically using an assembler to do this nowadays. What we normally do is use a standard modern text editor, and then we will run a compiler which will convert your data, your script, into binary, and that binary we can then load into the computer and run it and test it. and that's probably something we'll start looking at, assuming that you guys like and subscribe the video. I'm not sure if I've said that enough, but yeah, let's hope that we get enough to do that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it, really. It mentions here a couple of other things. So it talks about where you can buy an assembler, and again, I would say that, I mean, you can use, there are assemblers that you can use that run alongside an emulator. That might be something you prefer. I'm going to run it the way that I like to code it. Other people may disagree, but you know, that's the choice you make. So if you want to work along with me, it's probably better that you try this method, and then if you, once you've learned and you find that there are other ways that you prefer to work, that's of course entirely up to you. So yeah, and as it says here, some computers will accept hex numbers, others you have to give them a short program. So yeah, this part is largely irrelevant in the sort of 2021, some 30, 40 years later. Yeah, okay, so that's really it for this video. I've gone through a few basic ideas, a few basic concepts. You can download the PDF with the link below and read through it again, watch the video again, make sure you understand. That's the very first steps that you'll make into understanding a little bit more about how machine code actually works. And so, as I said, hopefully we'll do another video like this. Big thanks to Usborne again for letting me use this material. And it's great that a book from, as I said, 30, 40 years ago is still giving the kids from back then some fun. So take care, look after yourselves, and as always, happy coding. Bye-bye. This video would not be possible without the amazing contributions from the people whose names you can see scrolling up the screen right now. If you'd like to be one of them, you can get all my games for free, you can get some coding tips, you can even get to dictate which games I work on in the future, and you might even feature in them. So if that sounds good to you, then head over to the Patreon page. The link is just coming up now. And in the meantime, happy coding. Bye bye.